Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So Robet Saleh just had a press conference at the owners meetings, and I wanted to kind of break it down a little bit because I feel like there's four main points, four main takeaways that I wanted to dive into. Four things that I found really interesting. Now, let's not waste any time. Let's jump right in. Okay, so the first takeaway, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not thrilled about. I'm really not. And it's the fact that they aren't sure if Mekhi Becton is going to be good to go for OTAs. And, you know, of course, Robet Saleh did go on to say, you know, he's working really hard. He's, working hard to come back. And that when he does come back, he's going to, I think the exact quote is, he's going to be a ball of butcher knives, which is pretty cool. But, this injury was not ruled a season ender. Back when it initially happened in week 1 against the Carolina Panthers. It wasn't. And we are now, months removed from the NFL regular season here, back when the Jets actually were playing, and it's still somewhat of a concern. And, I'm hoping for nothing but the best for Mekhi Becton. He's one of my favorite players, right? His rookie season back at Louisville, this guy was an absolute animal. I mean, this guy was great. Mauling defenders over, bulldozing them, tossing defensive ends around like rag dolls. It was so much fun to watch. He's just a bulldozer in the running game. But obviously these injuries have, kept him sidelined, right? Whether you want to talk about the plantar fasciitis, the injury that he's dealing with now. He even had the concussion before the start of last season. And, stack on top of that supposedly the organization has size concerns over Mekhi Becton moving forward. And then you have to ask the unfortunate question, will he get hurt again at some point? Will he look like the same player when he does come back? So it's unfortunate. It really is. I want Mekhi Becton to be back. Obviously, I want him to be 100% healthy and good to go. But look, if he's not, if there's still some question marks here and there about, longevity, about health, even in the short term, then I really feel like the Jets have got to address the tackle position. I mean, there are a couple, solid free agent tackles still out there, but specifically at the draft, and we're going to get into that with one of the next takeaways. But look, I mean, tackle is extremely important. It really, I mean, look what Trent Williams did for San Francisco's offense. The guy was one of the best left tackles in football. We got to nail this position down. And he actually went on to say that George Fant still is going to be in the mix to earn that starting left tackle spot, which I think he should, but, it opens up the door at right tackle. What's happening there? So we have holes here. We have vacancies. We got to address it. Okay, so the second takeaway is that we have some positional changes to talk about. Laken Tomlinson, the starting left guard for San Francisco all those years, was a former first-round pick made by the Lions years and years ago. He was signed to be the right guard of this football team, right? He was the prized free agent acquisition that Joe Douglas made this offseason, signing him to a 3-year, $40+ million deal. It is pretty expensive for a guard, but when you connect all the dots, Laken Tomlinson is not only just a great player, a great leader, but he comes in, knows the system, and he fits the system really well. But the initial plan, or at least it was reported initially, that Tomlinson was going to be the right guard of the team, and they were going to move forward, status with everything, looking the same, right? Everywhere else around him, McGovern at center, AVT at left guard. It's looking like we have a change. Tomlinson is going to be left guard, and AVT is moving to right guard. Now, obviously, AVT played his entire rookie season at left guard and did a great job. He was a little up and down at first, but I mean, the way he finished the season, the way he looked in the middle parts of the season, I mean, this guy was great, right? It's just a future building block. I have no worries, no doubts about Alijah Vera-Tucker. I love him. You look back at what he did at USC, he played some guard. He played some tackle. Okay. You look at where he played right guard specifically. Let's see. It was back in 2018 in a backup role. So my first initial takeaway, my first initial reaction here, I feel like maybe this should have been worked out before the Tomlinson signing, especially because there were a lot of Jets fans wanting James Daniels, another perfect scheme fit who plays right guard, and he actually signed a 3-year, I believe $24 million or $26 million deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so he comes in at a cheaper price, and I am not regretting the Laken Tomlinson deal at all. I am still thrilled to have him, and I think he's going to do a fantastic job at left guard. But whenever you're talking about moving a young player's position after he's put together a great season at one, and I'm not saying that left guard to right guard is going from quarterback to kick returner or anything like that. It's not completely different, and again, AVT has had some experience at right guard, but a part of me just wants to keep everything the same. Let's build upon his season at left guard, but hey, who knows? I think if you maybe look at the glass half full, you can say, well, you know what, AVT might be a better right guard than left guard. Okay, he might have a higher ceiling there. So I think if the Jets are making this move, if they're coming to this conclusion now and we're not waiting to see these guys in pads, maybe they know something that we don't, but it's interesting nonetheless. Okay, so takeaway number 3 here. Robet Saleh actually said, like in a joking way, that him and Joe Douglas are going to be in a bare-knuckle fist fight to determine whether they should go with an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman with that 4th overall pick. Now, obviously, I highly doubt that he gave away the team's draft plans. Maybe he's playing some, reverse psychology here, something like that. But look, it's no secret that the Jets need help in the trenches, both offensively and defensively. We need help at edge. We need help at defensive tackle. We need help at offensive tackle. Is Connor McGovern going to be the future center? I'm not so sure, but I really don't think center is going to be addressed with that 4th pick. So I'm looking at edge and tackle specifically. There's going to be talent there, whether you want to talk about Ike Ekwonu, Charles Cross, Evan Neal possibly. I mean, of course, it does depend on what the 3 teams in front of us, Jacksonville, Detroit, and the Houston Texans do, barring any sort of trade up. But look, the Jets are going to have an opportunity to select an offensive lineman. The Lions are not going to be selecting O-line. Their offensive line is fantastic. Houston definitely could. Jacksonville definitely could, but here's the cool twist. If Jacksonville or Houston decide to go with an edge rusher, Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, something like that, then all of a sudden we have our choice. We have multiple offensive linemen here. If they want to go offensive line, right? Evan Neal goes 1 to Jacksonville. Detroit gets whoever they want. Maybe one of the pass rushers. Maybe they go with Kyle Hamilton. Maybe they trade back. Somebody comes up for a quarterback. Who knows? Houston, they go offensive line. Now we get our choice at pass rush, right? Whether that's a Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson falls, whatever the case may be. Okay, so the Jets are in a great spot at pick number 4. But I just found it interesting that and of course he was making the joke of, I'm a defensive guy and Joe Douglas is an offensive guy, and we're going to go back and forth with it. But I think it speaks volumes about the talent level in this class and how important it is to nail this 4th overall pick. I don't think we're going to be trading it. It's extremely valuable. If you're picking somebody in the top 5, you imagine that guy being on your franchise for at least the next 5 to 10 seasons. Like, he is going to be a staple core pillar of the team moving forward. You cannot squander that. The Jets cannot squander this. Okay, so whether it's offense, whether it's defense, remains to be seen. But look, if we are focusing in the trenches for that 4th overall pick, I think it's the right move. I really do. And last but not least, the 4th takeaway here is the fact that Robet Saleh said that the Jets have had a pretty good offseason. I would agree, right? I like a lot of these free agent acquisitions. Whitehead, DJ Reed, Laken Tomlinson, the tight ends, backup quarterback. Like, I like what we're doing. But he also said that it's not anywhere close to being done. Now, is he hinting at a potential trade? Am I just a Jet fan getting my hopes up with that statement? Possibly. Is he just referencing the draft? Maybe some waiver pickups later, like during this, like right before the start of the season, something like that. Guys that are getting cut, maybe. But there's been so many rumors about the New York Jets and a potential trade, landing a number 1 wide receiver, addressing wide receiver. And I feel like at this point, it's not just BS. I really feel like the Jets are desperately trying to add a wideout here. I mean, we heard the news a couple days ago with AJ Brown as a name to watch. I mean, obviously DK Metcalf is, constantly being thrown in there. Amari Cooper there was interest there. There was interest in Calvin Ridley. There was interest in Tyreek Hill. And again, according to Adam Schefter, it came down to either the Jets or the Dolphins. They were a finalist there. So I really think that the Jets are going to make a move. At this point, it's just tough to kind of put your finger on what exactly they're going to be doing, but options are running out. Options are running out here. So interesting press conference to say the least, and I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on it down below. What are some of your takeaways? Do you agree with me? Do you think anything, that I said in this video was interesting? Do you agree with any of it? I think the positional change and the whole thing about Mekhi. Oh, actually, another thing that just popped into my head: the Lions actually got announced for Hard Knocks, and the Jets were actually a finalist for that. So, to be honest with you, I'm kind of relieved that the Jets are not going to be involved with the HBO's Hard Knocks or anything like that, because it's just added pressure. We already have one Jets drive as it is, which is terrific. But I mean, it's just more cameras, more mics. It's just more distraction. And I really, really want this team to improve. And one of the ways you do that is just cutting out distractions. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. The Becton news obviously coming as a little bit of a blow, early this morning. And then the whole positional change is a little odd too. But I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. And as always, go Jets.